Hello and welcome back to English Story Plus. It's a pleasure to have you here. If you're an English beginner, feel free to use subtitles whenever you need help. Now let's listen to the story.
It was a quiet morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking tea. The wind was soft outside, and the sky was cloudy. My mom was washing dishes at the sink. Then, I heard the sound of the mailbox. Clink, just one small sound. But it caught my attention. I stood up and walked to the door. Inside the mailbox, there was one letter. There was no name and no return address. It was a small white envelope. I opened it slowly. Inside was a simple note. Just a few short sentences. Thank you for helping me. You really saved me. I won't forget it. I stared at the paper. My heart beat a little faster. I had no idea who it was from. And I didn't remember helping anyone lately. But somehow, the words felt real, simple, gentle. I looked around the street. No one was there. It was just me, the quiet wind, and a mystery. I read the note again. Thank you for helping me. You really saved me. I won't forget it. The handwriting was small and neat. I didn't recognize it. I sat at the kitchen table and tried to think. Did I recently help someone? Maybe I held a door open. Maybe I gave someone directions. But nothing special came to mind. I showed the note to my mom. She looked surprised. Just that one? I shook my head. Just this. I looked out the window. The trees moved gently in the wind. It looked simple, but it kept me thinking about it. I read it one more time. I won't forget it. But I couldn't remember it at all. That night, I couldn't sleep well. I kept thinking about the note. I didn't know what to think. But the words stayed in my mind. Next morning, I sat outside with a cup of tea. The garden was quiet. Only the birds and the wind were awake. I held the note in my hand again. It was folded neatly, the handwriting still clear. Thank you for helping me. You really saved me. I won't forget it. I looked at those words. It was short, but it left me thinking for a long time. I thought about people I had met in the last few weeks. An old man at the store. A lost child at the bus stop. A woman who dropped her groceries. Did one of them write this? I wasn't sure. Maybe I helped someone, but I didn't know it. I still didn't understand it all. I finished my tea and stood up. Then I folded the note and placed it in my desk drawer. I heard birds singing. The trees moved gently in the wind. Nothing else happened that day. The next morning, I checked the mailbox again. I wasn't expecting anything. But there it was. It was a second note. The paper and handwriting were the same. You may not remember me, but I remember you. I stared at it, heart beating a little faster. I looked around. The road was empty. Only trees and wind were there. I went inside and read the note again. What did this mean? When did I meet them? I tried to think of people I had helped. Was it a stranger or a neighbor? A neighbor? Or someone from the past? But nothing came to mind. I placed the note next to the first one on my desk. Both were short, kind, mysterious. And now, I had even more questions. The next day, I opened the mailbox again. There was another note. A third one. It said, I saw you smile yesterday. You looked peaceful. I'm glad. I was surprised. Did someone see me? I looked around, but no one was there. Just the trees moving in the wind, and the quiet sound of birds. I stood still, the note in my hands. I looked again, but I didn't see anyone. The path was empty. Still, I felt strange. The person who wrote this knew more about me than I thought. That evening, I wrote a note of my own. I kept it simple. Who are you? I placed it in the mailbox and closed the lid. The wind blew softly across the field. I hoped to get another note. The next morning, I waited a little. Then I went outside. There was no note this time. I looked around. I checked the mailbox, the ground, and even the fence. But I didn't see anything. Maybe the notes had stopped, but I felt like someone was near. I made some tea and sat by the front window. I waited and watched for a while. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. But no one came. Then, something moved. It wasn't a person. It was a small piece of paper. It was stuck under the gate. I went outside quickly. It was a note. The fourth one. You're watching now, aren't you? That's okay. I would do the same. I stood still for a moment. The person who wrote the notes saw me watching. I wanted to know who was leaving them. So, I made a small plan. The next morning, I waited by the mailbox. Then, a shape moved quietly towards it. I jumped out from behind the bushes and called out, "Wait!" But I tripped at that moment. When I looked up, no one was there. Just as I was about to give up, a blue bird feather drifted down. It seemed to guide me towards the garden. I quickly hurried into the garden. I looked up at the bird's nest in the tree. I remembered finding a baby bird on the ground a few months ago. It had fallen from this very nest. I had gently picked it up and put it back. Now, the nest was empty. But then, a small blue bird flew up from somewhere. It soared into the clear sky. The little bird circled once, like it was saying goodbye. Maybe it was the baby bird I helped. Maybe the bird was trying to say thanks. It felt like it came to show me it had grown. After it flew away, the blue sky looked high and far. My heart felt light. I was thankful for this small miracle. Listen and speak. Discover English expressions. Listen carefully and try to say them with me. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping me. I won't forget it. I won't forget it. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I would do the same. I would do the same. A woman who dropped her groceries. A woman who dropped her groceries. The person who wrote the notes saw me watching. The person who wrote the notes saw me watching. Thank you for being here today. Let's keep practicing together, and see you next time with a new story.